From Trump's money man to Rikers inmate, today Allen Weisselberg walked out of a New York courtroom in handcuffs, headed for Rikers Island after a judge sentenced him to 5 months for perjury. Weisselberg is the former chief financial officer for the Trump Organization, and he admitted that he lied during a deposition in the New York civil fraud case against Donald Trump and his co-defendants. That's the one with the $464 million judgment. Weisselberg gave false testimony specifically about the size of Trump's apartment triplex, and he's already served time in 2022 for tax fraud. Let's talk about this further with John Dean. He's a former White House counsel for President Nixon. He actually testified against President Nixon in the Watergate investigation. So, John, thanks so much for being with us. A 5-month sentence for Weisselberg. Do you think that's fair?
Well, in total, it'll probably, with good behavior, amount to about 90 days, 100 days. That was what his prior good time got him in Rikers. So he's returning to a very unpleasant place that he's very familiar with.
Good time at Rikers, it sounds like an oxymoron, John. The interesting thing about this is that as part of his plea agreement, sources indicate that he won't have to testify against Trump in the hush money case. It doesn't seem that prosecutors felt that they were losing a key piece of their case by agreeing to that. Is that a fair assessment?
I think it is. I think what they're doing is tidying things up before the trial next Monday, and this was one of the open items. This is pretty much going to preclude Trump using Weisselberg as a witness in his case, in his defense. So, you know, he's a government certified perjurer, so he's not much of a witness, and that will be a relief for the government as they proceed with their case. They'll know nothing's going to come in from amiss from this witness.
Trump's team filed another appeal today in the hush money case, this one challenging the judge's refusal to recuse himself. Again, they're trying to delay the start of this trial. Do you have any doubt that jury selection is going to begin on Monday?
It would be extraordinary, Boris, if it didn't begin on Monday. The judge has already has a plan in place to narrow it down so that it's not an oversized jury pool, but rather a highly qualified jury pool, that they can get down to seriously finding people who can sit on a jury and make a impartial decision based on the evidence presented in the case. So I think this is going to go ahead. I think these appeals now, everybody knows, are frivolous. They're desperate. He doesn't want this case to go on before he has to face the voters, and it will not. It is not going to help his campaign, contrary to any thoughts that he pretends that these are helpful.
I want to turn now to the federal case against the former president for keeping his classified documents at Mar-a-Lago. The witness list, apparently a judge deciding, will stay secret. Do you have any concern that that might feed into the false beliefs that are out there, that the Justice Department is going after the former president unfairly?
I don't think so, because I think the judge, she went very slowly on this, and Trump and his counsel know who these witnesses are, but they can't use this information publicly. And what they've done is protect the witnesses, but not the content of their statements that were given to the government and may come up and be used at trial. So there's nothing unfair about the proceeding, but rather it would be unfair to the witness, given Trump's history of attacking witnesses and using all kinds of slander and defamation against people who do testify against him, to expose their names and let them be subject to that. Some probably will be recognized if they're used at trial, so they're not secret witnesses, but they're just anonymous witnesses, not unlike mob cases.
A fascinating comparison there. John Dean, appreciate the time, sir. Thanks.
Thank Boris.
Of course.